everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're talking about an already beloved movie from Pixar, Coco.
This Disney take on the holiday of Dia de los Muertos follows a boy who aspires to be a musician, but due to his entire family banning music, he ends up on an adventure to the land of the remembered, where he must find his great-great-grandfather, a world-famous musician, to return home and lift the curse on his family. He must find his abuelito.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it is similar to Book of Life in terms of something about the family not liking music, but there's like certain elements that are similar, but it is actually a whole different movie.
Absolutely. Coco is definitely not a copy or a ripoff, and we do appreciate that everyone has their, view interpretation. Mm-hmm. But when we watched this movie, we didn't see it, and absolutely enjoyed it. It was nothing like I expected. And I was very pleased with what I saw. Yeah.
Very, very surprised at it. And a lot of people have said they have gone to thinking, oh, it's going to be a real Book of Life. But then it's a whole different movie. Yeah, there are some things that are really similar. Like, he wants to be a musician. Family doesn't like it. He goes to the land remembered on that holiday. It's centered around that. Yeah, there are a lot of things that are similar. But at least it's a whole different story,
right?
And he's the central focus.
Mm-hmm. And I love that this story has some twists and turns and things you didn't see coming, which we won't spoil for you if you haven't seen it. Although we might be two of the only people on Earth who hadn't seen this movie yet.
Right.
But just in case you haven't seen it, we don't want to ruin a lot. Plot twist, surprise ending, well, a dual ending, a surprise ending plus the ending, the happy ending you hope for. Mm-hmm. And it's just really, really great. So tell us more about who wrote and created Coco, and let's talk about some animation.
It was based on an idea by Lee, what's his name?
Unkrich?
Yeah. And he directed it and then was co-directed with Adrian Molina. Mm-hmm. And this movie came out last year in November of 2017.
And it's the first movie to have an all-Latino cast, correct?
Yes.
Well, Disney. For Disney.
Right. And actually, it made a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, this is something they should go, hey, we need to do this again.
Right.
The budget was $175 million. And as of date, it has grossed over $807 million.
Yeah. And it was also the #1 grossing film in Mexico during its opening weekend. And it outdid Top Cat the movie at the time.
That's not too difficult, but still, this is great. This is a really great milestone. And the voice acting cast was terrific. I have to point out first Benjamin Bratt, because not only is he hot, but I know him from lots of live action movies that he's done. And he's also married to the woman who portrayed Kitana in the original Mortal Kombat movie, Talisa Soto.
Oh, okay. So, like I said, they have some star power in here. And who else do they have? They have Anthony Gonzalez, who was an actual kid, not an adult pretending to be a kid.
And Gael Garcia Bernal as Hector.
They had
Edward James Olmos. Now he's just like acting royalty.
Right. Even though he had a short role in the movie, still it's like I said, really big stars with all this cast.
And Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, as Clerk, Cheech Marin, just the whole nice cast.
Right. So, and I also love they also had Frida Kahlo as a character in there, and that was really hilarious. Yes, she was still doing the art there and all these weird interpretive plays and stuff. And I was like, man, you still doing this?
That was great. So, let's tell them a brief synopsis about Coco.
Okay. Well, we kind of did earlier, but if you want more details.
Details without spoiling the surprises.
Okay. Well, the boy who comes from this really large family, and he has his dream to play the guitar and play music like in Manola for the Book of Life.
And what is the boy's name?
Miguel.
Thank you. Not Coco.
No, we thought it was. The Coco is actually the name of the great-grandmother.
Right.
We were thinking that was his name or the last name. Like, no, that's who it was. And he wants to become a musician, but every time he starts playing a guitar, like from somewhere, his family will find out he's playing it. It's like you'll be somewhere else, and all of a sudden they're right there. Right. Like, how are you noticing this?
We told you no music.
Yeah, and it turns out like one of their ancestors, the great-great-grandfather, played the music, but he left to pursue his dream and kind of left his family. And from then on, all the family had this deep disdain for music because it's what apparently broke it apart first. So now they ban music from their house. Like, they're the only family in Mexico that doesn't like music. Everyone in the whole town, the whole world play music except them. And it's like Christmas with the Cranks, only for music.
Right. So he goes on this adventure to the land of the Remembered to get permission to be able to play music, but that wasn't the original intention. He ended up there by proxy, by attempting to get a guitar so he could enter into this competition. And as a result of doing this, he ended up in the land of the Remembered.
Right.
And once he got there, then his quest was, okay, I need permission so that I can do this.
Right. And he finds this old picture. There's this famous musician in there named Ernesto de la Cruz. And he's the most famous musician in the world within the movie. And when he sees this old picture and he sees something behind it and it's the same guitar he owns, and he realizes that's his relative. So, of course, he's excited. Right. Everyone's like, we'll never speak of him again.
So, it's a great adventure ensues. And he's still this big mega star in the land of the Remembered, right. And so on and so on.
They're actually more wealthy there than they were upstairs. Right. It's like, man, you're more famous here this way. It doesn't. There's no chance of him leaving or anything being forgotten.
Right.
Which was a small theme in there, which was, as you've seen, of course, within the culture. They have in this movie where it's called a second death. When a person passes on, they live on through memory, so they can stay in the land of the Remembered, and they kind of go through this little toll where if they find their picture and they remember, they can go visit their families in the living world and cross this bridge
on the one day of the year.
Right. Right. And then, but if they're forgotten, then they're gone permanently. Then they can no longer live in that area too. They just kind of turn to dust and cease to exist altogether.
Right. And then Miguel only has a certain amount of time in order to get this done and to return to the living world. If not, then he ends up staying there forever.
Right. And it's only one day, since that holiday seems to have a lot of magical properties within the movie. He only has until sunrise of the next day. And as the movie progresses, you can see him. He is slowly turning into bones.
Skeleton, right.
They give him face paint while he's there, so no one's suspicious or why is this living kid there. But eventually it's hard to tell which is the makeup and which is real, because a lot of him starts disappearing at a faster pace.
Right. What I really loved about this movie, besides the familiar element, the action, the storyline, the great voice acting, I also love the beautiful animation. It was absolutely beautiful. Seeing this world they created, and also in the living world, they made it vibrant and colorful. I love the love that you could feel and see between the family members, and how much they really cared about each other, and they really cared about Miguel,
right,
and wanting the best for him. So it's you have so many movies where you see broken families, and you see a lot of other things that you prefer not to see in an animated movie, and this movie does well in, although incorporating some of that, there was still so much love that was not the focal point, and it was really nice.
Right. And when we didn't know what to expect, we kind of had, we were pretty hardcore Book of Life fans, and a little bit of skeptical when we first heard about it. And also the fact Disney kept advertising this quite a bit more than they usually do with other movies. Perhaps they have stronger faith in that movie until it came closer to the premiere. So there was this moment before the movie came out. Well, actually, when it came out in theaters, before the movie, they played this quote-unquote short before it called Olaf's Frozen Adventure, which was supposed to be a little special for Frozen for the holidays. but people were actually furious because it wasn't a short, like, 5 minutes or 4 minutes, like a little bit of intermission. It was actually a 20-minute special. So people were actually sitting there for 20 minutes thinking they've started the wrong movie. Then it turns out it was the right movie, but they put this before Coco, and they thought that would get more people into the theater if they had Frozen, because Frozen was their biggest hit ever at the time, with Let It Go and so forth. And from then on, no one wants to see Olaf's Frozen Adventure, even when it is the holiday season in December, because they thought that the movie wouldn't do well on its own, like some of the others, because it had, no talking animals and such. So they said, let's put this movie before that, so people who love Frozen will see that, and they'll see Coco. They ain't counting the fact that people's attention spans will waver halfway through before they get to the movie, and they're like, screw this, I'm just gonna wait for it to come on TV.
So, if you haven't seen Coco, you should. It's a great movie. We're just sorry it took us so long to see it. This seems to be a recurring theme through some of our podcasts. But we're getting better at it.
Right.
For example, we finally got to see Infinity War. So,
yeah, it took us forever to watch that.
Yeah,
a lot of the times it takes us a while to catch up on these movies. By the time you get, we've seen already, it's like...
And now that The Incredibles is coming out in a few short weeks, we'll be able to see that too. I'm going to say a few short weeks because it's over a month. But in my mind, I'm going to think a few short weeks and we'll be seeing Incredibles 2. And Looney Cat will be able to tell you what we think.
Yes, oh my goodness. So, yes, if you haven't seen Coco, it's available on Netflix, both in English and in Espanol, for both audiences that speak different languages. And it's a very great watch, and definitely add it to your list, whether you're watching this with your family during any time of the year, or even for Halloween / Dia de los Muertos.
And tell us if you think there's going to be a Coco 2 or a sequel, and what do you think it possibly could be about, since this movie so well covered this topic and subject and finalized it. What do you think that Disney could find as a second topic for the movie?
Right. So, that's it for now. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mama Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace. Adios.
And the reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you want to do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams. She was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket.